Alright, so I'm gonna be doing a live, not a live, but a video on these countries. So if you see, I already started a war before y'all was here. So my bad. And let's continue this war. So the Iranis start to push more into the eastern part of this guy until they meet this lake over here, which was clearly impossible to get through. So they couldn't get through there. By the way, it's only 4 countries in the world. And these people start to push more into the urban, not Iranian area, as they cut off this part of Iran. And get in touch with a lot of these major cities of Iran, as about like 100 of them are on the coast. They take over this big blob of Iran till the Iranis start to report about it, and they start to push back. And as they cut supply from there in the Irani area. But then, as they take over the rest of the coast, Iran is starting to feel hopeless now because of all of its coast gone. They meet up with the populated coast, as almost all of its cities live up there. As they cut it off that part, nobody was worried about this part of Iran over here, as they took over the capital too. So now they was both in a stalemate. But the Uzbeks were in the bigger one. But eventually the Iranis came back and took back their capital, pushed back over here. Which then they pushed back. Then the stalemate was left like this. Now, both had halves, and they stayed like this for a while, until 200 years later, until the Uzbeks starts to push in back. If they allow, and then they start pushing back. And the Iranis push back all the way. See, they push back all of these Uzbeks out of their territory, and they start to push in to their territory. They meet up with these lakes again, take it over. And the Uzbeks was at their last stands. They moved back over here at this lake and took it back over from the Iranis. They made a landing over here in their capital area. I don't know how they did that, but they connected up themselves, got back their northern parts. But then it was all over, as Iran took all of it back, but leaving no stance. So let's see about this peace treaty. So, in this peace treaty, we have Iran and this Uzbek person changing their border by a lot. So the Uzbek wanted the southern part of Iran over there, while the Iranis get up to there since they won the war. They don't take all of the lake, but they get all of that, as the Iranis is now the most powerful country in the world. Now we have the formation of a new country, a cold country. It likes to live up the north. Alright, so then this country loves the ice and stuff. So it stays in the ice. Its capital, Ulaanbaatar, whatever city that is. And they start moving into the cold eastern Russia. They never touched real land before. All they had was ice. They have a little bit of people, small amount of population, 100 35 to be exact. And they also make a landing up here, taking that part of Russia. And they start to keep it cool. Then you have what's her name? If y'all know the name of this empire, please tell me in the comments. But something called like the Kalmar Empire, something like that. And it was forming along the coastlines. And you see it had multiple spots inside. Had the Denmark spot. They had a couple spots in Sweden / Finland. They had a couple of big ones. But the main one was over here in Helsinki. Yeah, I'm asking why does it sound like a bad word? A couple scattered around where they're colonizing it. See the Kalmar Union, the Cold Country, the Ottoman, the Egyptians, the Iranis, and the Uzbeks. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then, you have them having little pieces in Greenland, Iceland. Yep. Some of these were big pieces, some of these were small. Like this one right here was the smallest. Then you had some French users who like to speak English, but has a French culture. These people over here in Brittany. These people decided to expand down here. And Brittany decided to move more here and here. The Englands, I know y'all been waiting for them. The England users are now here in this world. And they are starting an empire for themselves. They're going to start the first English empire. Well, the first British empire. In the French area, you have them making a landing over here. In this area over here. And they have this little city right here. The French. This Belgium-like country moving down into France a little bit. Even though it cuts up a lot. Spanish. A lot of countries in there. Then you had the one and only France, which is fucked up. France, which is up badly. So you have the settlers over here starting to colonize. They're starting to move into these French areas. The French is way better than the Englanders. So if they wanted to, they would take over the Englands, but they decided to work up their economy more instead. The Ireland people form up here. Dublin was still left out. Had lots of Irish nations. So all these Irish nations popped up. Scotland and Wales was here before England declared war on it. And perhaps it won the war, of course. So let's estimate that war right now. Yeah, they do border by a tiny piece. And they're thinking it's about taking Dublin. So they start to push into Wales. And they take it all over. As taking over Dublin too. So Dublin in Wales is now under their control. Under the England's control. And they take over the rest of this land that was empty. So as Dublin under their control, they take a little, they make a settle over here in a piece of Sweden. I know this is not time where the started, and the Englanders were starting to become big as they took over that, had this piece of France and that piece, and they moved up here near Scotland. The French obviously wanted their land back, so the French, before they can move, the French declared war on Brittany to get some more land. So as they declared war on Brittany, they started to move to the capital. They pushed through with ease, and they took over Brittany. Simple as that. They make Brittany a puppet before Brittany gets annexed. Yeah, she changed the Wi-Fi password. No, you can't be that. Change the Wi-Fi password? No, you can't be that. Change the Wi-Fi password? Then you had Dale John and something else right here. Don't matter what is you own. The Anglo-French War. The Anglo-French War. I know it's starting late, but we're starting here. This is going to be the last war before we end this episode. If y'all want to see more, please let me know. And here we go. Oops, I forgot about this part. So the England starts to cut off France from the sea over here next to Brittany. And then they start to push into northern France. The French take out this little piece, starts to push in as they're close to the capital. Bye guys. This